The invisible tax of a fragile money setup. People do not just lose money on bad purchases. They lose money every month through a fragile setup. If your credit is weak, your life is financed, your protections are thin, and every bill depends on the next paycheck landing on time, the same life costs more. Not because you are reckless, but because your money system is weak. The fix is not looking richer. The fix is removing invisible taxes so cash flow can finally compound. Calm, forensic, slightly unsettling, focused on ordinary adults who feel fine but are quietly paying too much for the same life.
Let me show you something that is hard to see because it does not arrive as a single dramatic bill. Two people make about the same money. They live in the same city.
They shop at similar stores. They both say they are doing okay, but one of them is always under pressure. Her car payment is a little too high. Her insurance quote is a little too expensive. Her travel ends up on a card. Her emergency fund is always almost enough, which is another way of saying it is not enough. And every month she feels like she is running harder just to stay in place. The other person is not richer in any obvious way. She just has a stronger system. That is the part people miss. Financial stress is not only about how much you earn, it is also about the invisible cost of being fragile. If your setup is weak, the same life costs more. You pay more to borrow, you pay more to recover. You pay more to stay protected. You pay more because your money has to be available right now, not later. That is the invisible tax. And once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere. You see it in the person who gets approved for a worse rate because their credit history is thin or messy. You see it in the traveler who turns a trip into a 12-month obligation. You see it in the worker who has no disability coverage, no renter's coverage, no real liability buffer, and no room to absorb a bad month. You see it in the household that depends on every paycheck arriving exactly on time, because there is no secondary system underneath the main one. That is not just bad luck. That is a fragile financial operating system. And the problem with fragile systems is that they do not always fail loudly. Most of the time they fail quietly, through small penalties that accumulate in the background until your whole life feels expensive. Today's episode is about those background penalties, not the obvious mistakes, the hidden taxes. Because once you stop thinking only about purchases and start thinking about setup, you realize something important. A lot of people are not broke because they bought one terrible thing. They are broke because every ordinary thing in their life has been priced through a weak financial structure. The real drain is not just spending, it is fragility. Start with the most visible, invisible tax, borrowing. When your credit is weak, your life gets more expensive before you even buy anything. The car loan is worse, the credit card is worse, the apartment application is harder. The insurance quote can come in higher, the deposit can be larger. The approval can be slower. Sometimes you do not even notice how much more you are paying because the increase gets disguised as normal market conditions. But the truth is simpler. Lenders, insurers, and landlords all price uncertainty. If your file looks unstable, you pay for it. That is why weak credit is not just a number. It is a monthly surcharge on being fragile. People often talk about credit as if it were some abstract adult homework assignment. But credit is really a translation layer. It tells the financial system how expensive it is to trust you. If your history is clean, well-managed, and boring, the system gives you better terms. If your history is thin, inconsistent, or stressed, the system charges you for the doubt, and the doubt is expensive. Imagine two people buying the same car. Same sticker, same neighborhood, same job title. But one has a stronger credit profile, so the payment is manageable. The other has a weaker one, so the rate is worse and the monthly cost climbs. That difference does not feel dramatic on day one. But stretch it across years and the weak setup keeps extracting a toll. The same thing happens with housing. A fragile financial profile can push someone towards worse terms, fewer options, and higher stress. And once housing gets expensive relative to income, every other part of life starts bending around it. Then there is insurance. A strong profile can lower the sense of being cornered. A weak profile can make the same protection more costly. Even when the monthly difference is not enormous, the psychology matters. People with weak systems often choose less protection because they are already tight, and then they become even more exposed. That is the loop. Fragility creates higher costs. Higher costs create more fragility. This is where the episode needs to be clear. The borrowing tax is not only about bad debt. It is about the premium you pay when the system does not trust your ability to absorb shocks. And that premium shows up in ordinary life. It shows up when you need a replacement car before you plan to buy one. It shows up when you have to move quickly and the lease terms are not in your favor. It shows up when a medical bill, a move, a new child, a breakup, or a job change forces you into a decision before you are ready. Strong systems create leverage. Fragile systems create urgency, and urgency is expensive. That is the first invisible tax, not the price tag on the item, the price tag on your lack of buffer. Now move to the second tax, financing the lifestyle itself. This one is sneakier because it does not feel like debt at first. It feels like participation. It feels like joy. It feels like I deserve this. And sometimes, yes, you do deserve a trip. You do deserve a car that works. You do deserve a little comfort. The issue is not the existence of pleasure. The issue is when pleasure gets converted into long-term payment obligation. That is when your past self starts billing your future self. A vacation that should have been a memory becomes a monthly invoice. A convenience purchase becomes a payment plan. A treat yourself moment becomes a subscription to a decision you already made. People usually understand debt as a big thing, a loan, a balance, a statement. But lifestyle financing is more subtle. It is the habit of making ordinary life feel normal only if it can be spread across time. Instead of asking, can I afford this? The question becomes, can I make the monthly payment work? That question sounds practical. It is not. It is a trap disguised as budgeting. Because once everything is measured by the payment rather than the full cost, you stop noticing how much the setup is leaking. Maybe the trip itself was fine. Maybe the furniture was fine. Maybe the upgrade was fine. But if it all goes on borrowed money, the real cost is not the purchase. The real cost is that you have reduced your future flexibility to buy a moment of comfort today. And the stronger the pressure to keep up, the worse this gets. People compare their real lives to other people's highlight reels. They see travel, dinners, outfits, devices, a cleaner apartment, a newer car, and they think the visible thing is the success. But often the visible thing is being quietly subsidized by debt, thin savings, and a willingness to live one unexpected bill away from damage. That is why the life can look full, but still be fragile. A fragile setup does not always look irresponsible. Sometimes it looks impressive. Sometimes it looks modern. Sometimes it looks socially normal. But underneath, it is costing more than it should. Think about the person who goes on a trip and then spends the next 6 months paying for the memory. Think about the person who finances a nicer car to feel less behind, then discovers the payment was never the whole cost because insurance, maintenance, and stress all came with it. Think about the person who keeps using convenience as a default because the day feels too hard to plan around, until convenience becomes an expensive habit that crowds out actual safety. That is the lifestyle financing tax. You are not just paying for the thing. You are paying interest on the version of yourself who wanted the thing before you had the money structure to absorb it. And here is the harder truth. The more fragile your system already is, the more dangerous lifestyle financing becomes. If you have no buffer, every payment is a little heavier. If you have no margin, every small balance becomes a quiet threat. If you have no cash flow relief underneath, then one bad month turns into a spiral. That is why the answer is not never enjoy anything. The answer is to build a setup where enjoyment does not have to become a hidden lease on your future. You want experiences that do not trap you. You want purchases that do not rewrite your next 12 months. You want a life where pleasure is chosen, not financed by panic. Because once lifestyle debt becomes normal, you are not just spending. You are leasing your freedom from your former self. The third tax is the one people hate thinking about because it feels boring until it becomes urgent. The protection gap. This is where missing insurance, missing reserves, and missing legal or practical protections turn one setback into multi-year damage. A lot of people think protection is something you add after you are successful, but protection is part of success. It is how you keep one event from destroying the whole machine. If you do not have enough coverage, one accident can become a debt problem. If you do not have enough cash buffer, one job issue can become a panic problem. If you do not have enough liability protection, one mistake can become a long-term legal or financial problem. If you do not have enough disability protection, your income can disappear while the bills continue to arrive. And the key point is not that every disaster is likely. The key point is that fragility makes the uncommon event cost far more than it should. That is what people miss when they say, "I'm probably fine." Probably fine is not the same as protected. Probably fine is not the same as durable. Probably fine is what people say when they have not yet met the full price of being underinsured. The protection gap tax is cruel because it does not show up on the day you decide to skip coverage. It shows up later when the event happens and the math becomes violent. A small problem becomes a large one. A short disruption becomes a long recovery. A normal life inconvenience becomes a financial fracture. This is also where the emotional cost becomes obvious. People with weak protection live with a constant low-grade fear. They know that one thing could go wrong, and they would not have much room. So they become more reactive. They check their account constantly. They hesitate on decisions. They feel guilty for normal needs. They become mentally crowded, and mental crowding leads to more bad decisions, which leads to more fragility. That is another invisible tax. It is not just the cost of the uncovered event. It is the cost of living in a house with no fire extinguisher and then acting surprised when you never feel relaxed. Protection also matters because it changes your choices before anything bad happens. If you are covered, you can make better decisions from a position of calm. If you are protected, you can take a job, leave a bad one, move, slow down, or recover without turning everything into a crisis. If you are unprotected, your choices are always narrower than they look, and narrow choices are expensive. They keep people trapped in jobs they hate. They keep people in housing that is too rigid. They keep people from making smart long-term moves because the short-term risk feels impossible. So when people ask what the point of protection is, the answer is not peace of mind in the abstract. The point is that protection lowers the premium on every future decision. It stops one incident from hijacking your whole year. It keeps a temporary problem from becoming a permanent financial identity. That is why a fragile setup is so costly. It charges you in the background and then charges you again when something breaks. Now we get to the escape hatch, cash flow freedom. This is the opposite of fragility. It is not about looking rich. It is about making your life less dependent on every single paycheck surviving contact with reality. Cash flow freedom begins when money starts arriving from more than one direction. Not necessarily huge amounts, not necessarily glamorous amounts. Just enough to change the shape of your month. A small dividend, a modest asset stream, a side system that is not purely hourly labor, a reserve that buys time, a structure that means a bad week does not become a bad season. This matters because paycheck dependence creates a particular kind of pressure. When every expense must be met by labor that is still in transit, your whole life feels fragile. You can be employed and still be living in a constant state of financial countdown. Cash flow changes that, even a little. It does not have to replace your job to matter. It just has to reduce the terror of interruption. That is why asset-driven cash flow can feel so different from wage-driven cash flow. Wage income is active and fragile. Asset income is quieter. It is not magic, and it is not always large, but it shifts the emotional geometry of the month. It tells you that part of your money is working even when you are not actively trading time for it. That is the real contrast this episode wants to make. One life is constantly reacting to cost. The other life has systems that absorb cost. And once you experience even a little of that difference, you stop wanting fancy things as much as you want optionality. You want to say no when something is bad. You want to wait when something is rushed. You want to avoid turning every need into a payment plan. You want to hold a little more cash. You want more room than you had before. That is the quiet turning point. When the goal stops being, how do I keep up, and becomes, how do I make this setup less expensive to live inside? That is where wealth stops being a performance and starts becoming infrastructure. And infrastructure is boring in the best possible way. It does not need applause. It just works. Because a fragile financial system makes everything more expensive, it makes borrowing cost more. It makes pleasure cost more. It makes setbacks cost more. It makes time cost more. And it makes peace of mind feel like a luxury instead of a byproduct. The solution is not to pretend you never want anything. It is to make sure the things you do want do not quietly mortgage your future. Build better credit. Stop turning every life choice into a financed obligation. Close the protection gaps. Create even a small stream of cash flow that is not entirely dependent on your next hour of labor. Because once the invisible taxes are gone, your money stops fighting you. And that is when compounding finally gets room to breathe. Not rich looking, just less cornerable. That is the real upgrade.